Hi, this is Melissa, Implementation Specialist. I'm going to review the notes, diagnosis, and recall pods. Notes that have been entered for a patient can be viewed on the patient dashboard in the Notes pod. When you hover on the note, a pop-up window will appear that has more detail. To add a note to this section, you can click on the plus button here to add, or you can go into the pod. Go to the upper right, click your plus button, and add the new note. The note is then displayed here. You can filter the notes with the radio buttons. You can also deactivate a note by selecting it and click Deactivate. The Diagnosis pod has all of the diagnosis history for the patient. When you hover, the pop-up window will give you more detail, just like on the Notes pod. To add a diagnosis or to resolve a diagnosis, you're going to expand the pod. To add, you'll go to the upper right and click the plus button. Enter some characters for the diagnosis that you're searching for, select it, and save. If you need to resolve a diagnosis, go over to the right and click the red button. You can filter the diagnosis to the left by all, active, or resolved. The recall pod will have any active recalls for the patient. To manually add a recall, you'll expand the pod, click on the plus button at the upper right, enter a date and the type of encounter that you want the recall set for. This recall will remain active until that particular encounter has been scheduled for the patient. You also have the ability to deactivate the recall by clicking on the red button. You can filter with your status buttons. One thing to note, once you have scheduled the appointment for the patient and the recall has then been assigned, if the patient happens to cancel, that particular recall will become active again. Thank you so much for joining me.